These are my 8 strategies for surviving in an alien or foreign world. Now, we've talked about this before. I think we talked about it yesterday. By the way, I gotta say, I'm kind of losing my voice, so if I seem to be talking in soft tones, apologies. But we talked about this yesterday. I think that if you were in a foreign country and you're a native English speaker, and the people in that country don't speak English, well, then you've got a problem if you don't speak their language. And it's not just the language, it's also the customs. Because the things that you are accustomed to, or the things that seem natural and socially okay with you, seem unnatural and socially unacceptable to them. So when you have Asperger syndrome, when you are autistic, high functioning autism, and you are trying to function in a neurotypical world, you are, in a very real sense, you're on an alien planet. Now, you got to keep in mind, this is number one, by the way, is keep in mind that the word alien is relative. So we say we're on an alien planet. Well, if they are alien to us being people with autism, then we are alien to them. And sometimes they don't mind saying it. You know, you act like a space alien or something akin to that. So we got to understand that we're in their world. I mean, they outnumber us. What is it? 60 to 1, something like that. So we're living in their world, and we need to learn to survive, at least, maybe not thrive, but at least to get along best we can. I know it's difficult because, I'm pushing 70 years old, so I've been doing this for, 7 decades. You were born with autism. So I've gone through it as a child, I've gone through it as a teenager, I've gone through it as a young adult. Whatever stage of life you are in, I've been at that stage in life. Unless you're older than 70, then okay, you've got a leg up on me. But wherever you are in life, chances are I've experienced something very much to what you've experienced. That is why I do these videos, so I can share with people some of the things that I've learned over those decades. And the first thing is this: understand that alien is a relative tool. Well, the second thing is that's okay. I mean, it's perfectly fine to live in an alien world. Stop and think what it would be like if all 8 billion people who are alive on planet Earth at this very moment, if all 8 billion people had autism. Nobody was neurotypical. Well, I guess in that case, autism would be neurotypical, but everybody's just like you. Would you want to live in that world? Probably not. At least I don't think I would want to, because the truth of the matter is we complement each other. So we are a valuable part of society, and they are a valuable part of society. And we may have a difficult time. Okay, we do have a difficult time rather communicating with each other. That's part of it. That's what it is all about. That's what keeps us separated in a sense. That's what gets us alone in the laboratory or on the computer inventing stuff to make things. Well, not me. I'm not an inventor. I've invented a few things, but they're kind of corny. But that's what makes us valuable to them. So there is actually a value in that divide. But also, as you very well know, if you have autism, Asperger syndrome, you know that divide can be a stumbling block. And to keep tripping over it, it makes it very difficult. All right, number 2 is understand that everyone is not like you, and that's a good thing. Number 3 is think of these terms. How do you convert solar energy to DC energy? So I'm looking out the window in front of me. You can see a window to your right, and you can look out there and you can see sunlight. That sunlight is lighting my cabin directly. I don't have any lights on in my cabin. Well, I got a couple in front of me, but the main light, it's not on. I am using sunlight to lighten my cabin. But what if I want to use sunlight to power my computers? or to power my camera or the other stuff I have in here. Well, then I need some kind of a transformer. I need to transform or translate solar energy into DC energy or AC energy in this case. How am I going to do that? Got to have a transformer. Got to have a translator. So think of yourself as solar energy in a world where everything is AC, or most everything is AC or DC, direct current. How are you going to translate into their energy? Well, you got to have, and they don't have transformers. You have to bring your own transformer. So you have to think of yourself not only as solar energy, the solar panel, but this is just my suggestion, this is what I do, but I think of myself as requiring a translator, requiring a transformer, so I can be on the same wavelength as they are. Now, I don't want to be that way all the time because, I still want to be sunlight, right? I still want to be solar energy. But there are times when it is more useful to translate yourself, to transform yourself into being like them. We call that masking. We're going to talk about that in more detail in just a moment. All right, number 4 is this. Now, you notice that it's very difficult if you are an Aspie, if you have autism, to meet and greet. As if there's a difference between the two. You meet somebody, you greet somebody, make small talk, whatever. So we're talking about being a transformer, about being a translator. We want to speak their language, but we don't really understand it. And you know what? You ever been to China, and you don't speak the language, so you just fake it. You just say something that sounds like Chinese. That's not going to work. They're going to think you're crazy. Go to France sometimes and pretend you're speaking French. Well, you probably will be crazy if you do that, but it just doesn't work, Maybe you get away with that in Britain. You can fake a British accent. Maybe in Australia you can do that if you're an English speaker, but by and large you really can't fake it. So you've got to actually learn their language. Okay, why? Why can't I just be myself? I mean, if they don't like me, that's too bad. Well, because sometimes it's just necessary to get along. You absolutely positively just got to do it. I don't want to do it all the time, but you got to do it. So here is my simple strategy. I just focus on not me, not my difficulties, not my challenges, not that it's very uncomfortable, not that I absolutely positively do not want to make small talk. Here comes a guy walking down the street, and I'm walking toward him, and I know he's going to say something, and I got to look the other way. Now, what I do is this is my thought. I'm going to talk to this guy out of courtesy. I'm going to focus on the other person, not on myself. Simple strategy. So instead of looking away, which is the natural thing to do for me, instead of pretending that, I'm listening to something on my headset, I'm going to do just the opposite. I'm going to engage this person. I'm going to try to be the first one to make eye contact. Yeah, that's difficult, right? I want to be the first one to open my mouth and actually say something clever, which usually comes out sounding really weird, but still. That's better than doing the opposite, in my opinion. So I've engaged this person. Now, you got to be careful because the strategy here is to be courteous. The objective is to be pleased to please people. And obviously, you go way overboard on that. So we're just doing it casually. We are pleased to please this person by trying to speak his language the best we can. So you go to China and you learn how to say hello. Ni hao, I think that's how they say it. Or you go to, I don't know how to say hello in France. I don't know how to say hello in German. I think it's V Gates or whatever. I know how to say hello in the hood. You say, hey, what's up? So, you learn those languages. So we're kind of learning just basic hi, how you doing type thing, or give them a thumbs up, use sign language. But at least you're being courteous, so you're bridging that gap. That is a survival technique for living in an alien world. And again, I said it before, you don't go overboard. So, I'm going to please everybody every chance I get. You're going to be taken advantage of if you do that. So, you got to be measured. Number 5 is, this, maintaining friendships is virtually impossible. I did an entire video on this yesterday. If you didn't watch it, you may want to go back and watch it. But the video is why I don't have any close friends. You got to be careful when you say that, because I've got a lot of people with whom I'm friendly, have friendly relationships with. But those close buddies, and a lot of people, it's not just people with Asperger's, but a lot of people don't have those friendships. So when it comes to maintaining friendships, what I have, and I say it's impossible, it's almost impossible. Sometimes people with Asperger's or autism will become friends among themselves, which is perfectly okay. But the strategy that I have used is I've simply resigned myself not only to the fact that I will probably never have a close friend outside of my family, but I kind of like it that way. It's not just that, oh, this is a problem. It's not a problem. I just, the part of the strategy is realizing that what some people would think is a real serious problem, you don't have any close friends, I see it as liberating. There's a verse in the Bible that says if you have a friend, then you have to be friendly, right? Well, what if you don't have any friends? And then you don't have to. I mean, you should be, but, you don't have to worry about pleasing your friends all the time. So it's okay to please the guy when you're passing on the street, say hello to them or give them a thumbs up, but you don't have to do that all the time. So there's actually an advantage. In my case, I think it's a big advantage to not have that, I hate to call it a burden, but the burden of having close friends. I mean, yeah, if you want to have close friends, cool. If it works out for you, that's all right. But how do I cope with it? I don't cope with it. I just, I don't see it as a problem, And if it's not a problem, there's nothing to cope with. Number 6 is this. I just like to phrase it this way. Be honest or be quiet. That's my opinion. One of the challenges you have living in a foreign world, this world of neurotypical people, they don't understand that people with Asperger syndrome, high-functioning autism, are brutally honest. I mean, we're just hardwired that way. Why not? We get ourselves in trouble. That's why not. And sometimes we think we're being honest, but, it is honesty to us. Reality, perception is reality. Phrase it that way. And one of the reasons I don't talk about politics or religion on this channel is because my perception of reality when it comes to religion, my perception of politics or social things when it comes to my perception is different from others. And because it's my reality, I'm going to blurt it out because, well, I'm just hardwired to be honest. And to me, that is honest. So what is the option? Well, the option is to be quiet. So if I can't be honest, I just shut up. And one thing I've learned is when I don't go to social events, but maybe a family outing. One of the things I've kind of learned the hard way is I've learned to be quiet when it comes to talking about politics. They don't all agree with me. They have a distorted view of reality, in my opinion. But they think I have a distorted view of reality, and what happens is we clash. So be honest or be quiet. If you can't be quiet, don't be honest. No, I'm not going to do that. So those are the two alternatives, and that is a strategy for surviving in this foreign world called neurotypical people. Number 7 is I've come to accept, we kind of touched on this just a moment ago, I have come to accept that rejection is a part of life. It's a huge part for people with autism, a huge part. Virtually everywhere we go, there's somebody there, usually more than one person, who finds us a little bit odd and they're going to reject us. You're not going to stop that. Why try? We try to work with rejection and work around it, or maybe even erase it, and all it does is cause stress and anxiety. At least that's been my experience. Maybe you have a strategy that helps you overcome it or puts an end to it altogether. I'd like to know what it is, because I can't think of one. So what do I do? How do I do that? How do I deal with this? What is my strategy for living in this part of the alien foreign world? Well, what I do is I just have this attitude that neurotypical people don't get to define who I am. I'm perfectly happy being autistic. If they want to think I'm an alien, okay, cool, you're an alien. That's my thought to them, but you're not going to define who I am, and they will try to. They will, and a lot of times they're well-meaning. I mean, they're just being observant, and they're expressing themselves. Sometimes they're being mean-spirited, but they will call you clumsy, or they'll call you aloof or arrogant, and they have all these because that's their interpretation as they're watching you. That's their diagnosis, and they're wrong. But that doesn't mean that I'm clumsy. That doesn't mean that I'm aloof. I don't allow them to define who I am. What I do is I define who they are. They are people who cannot understand. I'm going to do the defining. That's my strategy for dealing with that. They're not going to get to define me. And a lot of people don't. A lot of people do understand where you're coming from. But my experience has been that's a minority. Most people, they just think you're a little bit odd and they don't understand it. And as I said in other videos in the past, human nature is we just have to have an explanation for everything. So they just make something up. Whatever sounds reasonable to them, that's what they will come up with. And what is reasonable to them is, as we said earlier, maybe you have a character flaw, or they will say maybe you're lazy, or maybe you're dumb, or, whatever. They just come up with these things. Number 8, strategy for working and living in a foreign alien world. Are you ready for this one? So I told you we were going to talk a little bit more about masking, but I think, this is just my thinking, but I think we ought to wear what I call see-through mask. If you can see through it, what's the point? Well, there are three types. Number 1 is transparent, where you can see completely through it. That defeats the purpose of the mask. Or you can wear an opaque mask, where you can't see through it at all. No light comes through whatsoever. Or you could wear a translucent mask, where a little bit of light comes through. They can kind of see who you are, but also it's still a mask. It's still hiding part of who you are. So the reason I say that is I think as we try to operate and live and survive in a neurotypical world, we still need to be ourselves, even as we're being courteous and trying to accommodate them. So we're trying to do both at the same time. That's where the translucent see-through mask comes in, because I want people to know that I have autism, because I'm going to have a meltdown at some point. I want them to understand what's going on. I want them to understand my quirkiness, but at the same time, I want to try to be courteous to them and accommodate them. So I want them to accommodate me, so I'm going to let them know I have autism, but I'm going to accommodate them, so I'm going to do a little bit of masking and try to meet them halfway in the middle. That is a strategy that I use, and to me, above and beyond all of this, the important thing is to understand that it's just a matter of common courtesy to try to function the best we can, because, like it or not, really it's not their world, but de facto, actually it is. And we got to carve out a place for us, people with Asperger syndrome, people with autism. And these are 8 strategies. Hopefully some of this has helped you. See those 2 rectangles on the screen? Let's keep on talking if you want. All you got to do is click one of those 2 rectangles and we'll keep on going. If not, thanks for stopping by, and we'll see y'all next time.